like to talk about being your own person and relying on your own ability to decide what is right for you. I think overall, we don't give ourselves as much credit, or could I say we don't give ourselves as much confidence for our own ability to decide and therefore choose what is right for ourselves and what is not right for ourselves. If you just think about this for a second, just having this ability, it's so basic, you know? I mean, we give ourselves this ability when something's really harmful or deadly or disgusting, and it's something we instinctively just react to, or it could be painful, right? Or it's just so utterly annoying that we have to say something or do something about it. You know, if the sun is really bright, most of the time we're gonna put a hand up and block the sun from our eyes, even without thinking about it. Or if we see a situation ahead of us or coming towards us and it looks extremely dangerous, you're more than likely not to want to go towards that or to want to call for help or something. But what I'm trying to say is we do this already. We decide what is good for us and what is not more times than we could realize. But a lot of times we don't, and those times that we don't, it's ironic because we'll do this in situations that really matter. But in situations that aren't as, I'd like to say, as threatening or as obviously harmful or deadly, we don't know what to do. Like if you're in a group with people, friends, whoever, and it's like, let's make a decision of what movie we're going to see. But then you would just agree with whoever. Or you disagree, but it's not strong enough to really show that, no, I don't want to see that. So you agree. It's not really doesn't seem like a threatening situation. It's usually not. And this is what I'm talking about. This is almost like a life moment, right? Just a basic life moment. Or if somebody's talking in a very condescending way to you, you don't really do anything about it. Or you don't notice it. You're like, oh, I didn't notice it. Maybe somebody says, hey, they were really talking down to you. You're like, oh, I didn't think so. I mean, how could you decide if it was wrong if you didn't think it was wrong or a problem? Well, maybe you're not really paying attention because in most life moments or in a lot of life moments, you're kind of just checked out or not really there. Instead, you're just kind of like, I'm going with it, or it's happening and part of life, but you're really not. And this is what I'm referring to. You can be a part of your life. So why don't you? And I think one of the main reasons why we kind of don't, or we definitely don't, make decisions of what is good for us and what is not in any particular moment. Because I like to say we're scared. We are intimidated, or we're just not secure enough with ourselves. So it becomes a big problem. We become the type of person in a lot of situations, maybe not all, but in a lot, kind of just take the back seat. Don't really say much, or kind of just become that kind of person that doesn't really give input, doesn't really have much to say. I think sometimes this is okay. I mean, depends on the context, right? I mean, it might be a really good skill to not add too much input, or maybe it's really important to be a better listener. So you're not giving what you really think or feel or whatever. It's about someone else. Right? So, I mean, it depends on like when this is really helpful to even do, but I think to realize most of our life moments, or at least on an average basis, are really about ourselves. What are you in the mood to eat? What? You don't like that kind of music? You didn't understand what someone said? Why don't you ask what they said? Oh, this is your interpretation? Why don't you give your interpretation just to give it and see what others think? And if you disagree with them, why don't you? So I don't really agree, and give the reason why. We have to realize that if your moments in life don't matter to you, right? They're not that big of a deal. They're not important. Then really you don't matter. And I'm not saying you need to make everything matter so much, because it's good to compromise. It's good to also realize that maybe we're being like an entitled person. Everything needs to be our way, or we're that kind of person that convinces whomever to that this is better, whatever it is, and you're not really there to experience that moment and how else it could occur. And it's all about ourselves. I think we need to make life about ourselves, but with discernment of when it's like, all right, when do we shut up, or when do we overly contribute? Because we need to overemphasize or be a part of. Or when can we just contribute to the percentage that is completely acceptable? And I'd like to say, and because of that, it's healthy. It's healthy. You get to express. You get to give your way. Whether it's the right way or the best way or the wrong way or not good way, it's still your. You see, this is why I think it's a lot of it's, or all of it's, insecurity. Because so you may be wrong, and your taste of music, most people might think it's terrible. Well, your ideas of this or that, maybe they're really not good enough. They're not creative enough. They're not inspiring enough. They're not, you're limited. And so why would somebody that has experiences like this, or thinks about themselves like this, why would they put out more, experience, be more, share more? But that's why I'm coming from that aspect. But the whole point, no matter why any of this exists, and I'm sure there's millions of other reasons why, I think you deserve to express yourself. It's extremely healthy to do that. Otherwise, I don't know. You're not going to really enjoy life, because how you live life is how you care about yourself. If you don't care that much about yourself, then yeah, you will keep quiet. You will just shut down more. You will limit this, that, whatever. Not just because it's good to do that sometimes, or it's important to do that in situations, but because this is how you generally live. This also goes for people who overdo it all. They have to be so in charge. It's good to be in charge, and it's even necessary sometimes, or it could even just be what's required. But that person doesn't really care if we're saying this is how someone generally lives, as opposed to it being situational. Like, why can't you just relax more and just enjoy me? I could see the lines of like what it means to like enjoy living, being you, and having unhealthy ways about yourself and disagreeing with that you're unhappy. Say, no, I am, but it doesn't fall into place like a puzzle with how all that works out. So it really needs to be looked at. When it's all said and done, I really do think if you're not going to share, if you're not going to give your ideas, if you're not going to be like, well, this is just my opinion about anything, whenever it's, especially when it's just completely appropriate, I think you need to look at that, realize, work on your value, work on being able to care about who you are. And what does it even mean to be who you are? This is something we all can get into and work on. Because when it's all done, you know, you should say, like, whatever it is that you think you feel. And love that aspect of yourself. It's extremely healthy. I think it would bring you a lot of happiness. And nobody's giving you anything. You're not getting anything from anyone. But instead, you're giving yourself this experience.